A good writer must also be a good reader. So, fellow writers, what are you reading these days? And what lessons can you learn from it to apply to your own writing? That's the question of the day. It's Friday. It's another book review video with Sam. Let me tell you about my latest fiction read and what I liked about it and how I think others can benefit from it, okay? And hopefully hear from you, some of you in the comments too. So this is, well, hold on. This is the Shadow Gospels by Matt Lucas. Yes, it's on my laptop. I actually I got a PDF copy rather than the hard copy book. I actually talked to Matt Lucas. I've had him on an interview before on this channel. If you want to find it, you can go back and search through the archives, either here or on my podcast, whatever. Matt Lucas, the Shadow Gospels. But since I've talked to him via social media and had him on before, he sent me a free PDF copy of the book. So I actually usually prefer hard copy, and I almost wished I had bought the hard copy for this one. But but yeah, read it on a computer. Um, so there it is. It is Matt's, I believe, first novel, or first published novel. So, and you can hear more about that if you go back to our talk. But I finally got a chance to read it. I'm trying to read, not just not novels that are bestsellers that everyone knows. Although I want to keep up with those too, but some of the ones from up and coming authors like myself, especially those who have interviewed on here and such, and have heard about their stuff from other people. I'm trying to support my friends in that way. I can't read every single one. I have limited time, but the ones that maybe sound interesting to me, I'm trying to check out. So Matt sent me this copy, and again, he sent it months ago, and like many of you, I have a long TBR pile, so I didn't get to it right away. But I was like, I am gonna read this, and I read it. I read it this past month, and I liked it. So the Shattered Gospels by Matt Lucas. It's about, I guess you could call it urban fantasy ish. It takes place in the real world. It's modern times. There's real world political drama and such, but there are some supernatural elements too. Like there's demon possession and things like that. There's there's like this legendary suit that like a kind of a black or silver suit that the protagonist finds and puts on, and it gives him some kind of special abilities, and then he becomes like a vigilante around the world. So kind of, yeah, real world setting, but kind of some maybe subtler sci-fi fantasy elements in there. So that's been cool. I think Matt does really well at the real world setting. And it's his world building. I mean, yes, it's the real world, so in a sense, the world is already built for him. But he has to have knowledge, or he does have knowledge of all these different locations. I'll tell you what I mean. This novel takes place on the world stage. Like my novel is just in one city. It's a fictional city that I made up, and it's a superhero story. So I'm just like, it's like Metropolis or whatever. It's just a fictional city, but he uses real locations and real life like conflict. He deals with with religious conflicts. Like there's terrorism and modern day threats, modern day real issues. Like some of the characters, for example, there's there's a child soldier in probably Africa, I think, who's taken in by a terrorist and forced to work for him. There's a girl who's a Muslim, and her her father and her family are like radical Muslims, but she wants to break away from them and be more inclusive and stuff like that. She's kind of a political ambassador and such. There's a journalist who's investigating them. Um, and then there's the hero one of the main heroes who is from America and just finds himself in this drama when he's like on vacation later. There is an attack on Vatican City in the past. It's like a flashback that takes place maybe a year before the novel, and sets up some important things for some of the characters. So there's been this great attack on Vatican City. The Pope was assassinated, which hasn't happened in real life, but it's the kind of thing that could happen in real life with just domestic terrorism and religious conflict and things like that. So he has this whole setup, this whole cast of characters, and and deals with different characters in different countries, and the plot weaving together, which I think is cool. I think it's cool to see how like an author would put these pieces together and have this realistic knowledge of the world. I imagine it took some research. I haven't researched too many real world locations for my story because I didn't really need to. I mean, some would say world building isn't my strong suit, and I probably need to do more of it in some ways. But Matt has built an interesting world. I mean, in as much as he built the world, he set up an interesting conflict in the Shadow Gospels, and the characters have been interesting too. Like I said, there's this girl who's a Muslim who. But who's a more modern and inclusive Muslim. She's a likable character, and she's being like forced into a political marriage by someone she doesn't love, who's I guess arguably kind of the villain. Um, so that's been an interesting story, um, and and of course the vigilante who's called, oh, is he? You know what? Was he this? Actually, sorry, I, 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 I forget what it's called. His name is Liam. The guy's real name is Liam. I think it's the Phantom. That's right, the Phantom. He goes by Liam more often than the Phantom, but he's a cool character. I mean, I'm a superhero guy. I like anything superhero, so that's been interesting to me. We meet a group of like a brother duo who are exorcists who fight against demons and stuff like that, and save this girl when the demons are trying to kill her. So there's all this stuff. I mean, if you're looking for action, for interesting characters and action, it's there. If you're looking for plot, if you're looking for like real world elements like religious conflict and things like that, it's there too. It's an interesting story. I enjoyed reading it. I will say it's not perfect. I mean, if I'm being honest, I can tell it's as an editor or whatever, it's hard for me to turn off my editing brain. I can tell, but I can tell it's a debut novel by someone who hasn't written a lot, and I've talked to Matt directly, and told him some of my constructive criticisms. So I mean, I don't feel bad about sharing it with you all. I will say it takes a little while to get invested in the characters I mean, I have the same problem because my book's an ensemble cast. I have like five main characters. This has, I'd say, at least three or four. And the first several chapters, I'm like, I don't see how these threads are tying together. Like the first several chapters, I feel like it's going in different directions, and they're not coming together yet. And I'm like, okay, how many different characters am I gonna have to keep track of? I know some of us have asked that question before, or some of us have had that asked of our novels, guilty as charged, when we are writing them or workshopping them and have all these different characters to follow. So I get it, but I mean we're in the age of the epic fantasy. I mean, Wheel of Time has been so successful in the fantasy world, and other things that have like major characters and large side quests and subplots. So I feel like there's an audience for that these days. I'm just giving you warning that it can be a little slow at the beginning, and there are sometimes better ways to draw the reader in. But if you can get past that, the first maybe 6 or 7 chapters, I think it's really an interesting story. I will also say, I know from talking to Matt, this is book one in a planned series. I'm not sure how many he's going to have, but he's going to do at least one more. And so this one, I didn't feel like it had a conclusive ending because it is to be continued, obviously. So it's definitely built into something. It's definitely come together into something. I don't think we even saw every character come together in this book, like every character thread come together. I assume that'll happen in the future book. So it is an investment. I'll admit it's. I mean, any book you read these days is an investment because we all have limited time and such. But it is the beginning to an interesting story, and I think a story that has some potential. So I'm excited for that. I encourage you again, read the books of your friends, your author friends who are just up and coming again. Bestsellers are great. We all like those. They became the greats for a reason. But support your fellow author friends by reading their books too, as much as you're able. I'm going to try to do that a little bit more. Couple of my other reads for this next few months are also books by up and coming authors who are independent authors who I've had on here before. So I'm really excited for that. Do your friends a solid, do your author friends a solid by reading their book and reviewing it and all that stuff and telling your friends about it. So anyway, The Shadow Gospels by Matt Lucas. Cool book, cool urban fantasy vigilante story with real world elements too. I think you'll like it. I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope you can apply those things to your writing and your reading also. Have a great weekend and keep doing your thing. Bye, everyone.